There are some questions that at today are still unanswered, like for example, where is Alexander the Great buried? Or was there a real King Arthur? Where is the Holy Grail? Well, today we have to add a new question to that list. What was Thiago Motta writing during the press conference? We'll come back on the press conference of Thiago Motta today because I can tell you, extremely interesting. Another one that was really beautiful. Not only to discover who and what coach Thiago Motta is, but also who is he as a person? What is he thinking? What are his values? And for the Mercato lovers, well, he spoiled us, if you can read between the line, that the Mercato is absolutely not over. The press conference, will keep it for the end of the video because that's for the die-hard Juve fans. Before that, we speak about the two players that just arrived, two players that could possibly arrive because Sancho is extremely hot. So put a maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ragazzi. Yesterday in the morning, I didn't ask to put a maximum of like. We had like 500-600 likes on the video. Then in the second video, I asked your enthusiasm, your passion to show it with a maximum of like. We did 1,200 likes. So it works. And I'm obliged to ask you again to put a maximum of like, to continue to comment, to do it, because we are creating a fantastic, beautiful community of Juventini. Now we start. First of all, I want to say goodbye and good luck to Fabio Miretti, that yesterday was already at Genoa doing the medical test. Today he has been announced. It's a loan. It's a loan, 1 year at Genoa. There is no option, there is no obligation, there is nothing at all. After that year, he will come back. We know it has been also a request by the player himself. After seeing all these players joining Juve, especially in the middle of the field, he wanted a year of protagonist. Being there, being able to play as much as minutes, as much as games possible. And I tell you, there is a beautiful story in that loan, because he's not going to the Frosinone that is fighting for relegation. He's going to a Genoa that won yesterday, by the way, 1-0, a Genoa of Gilardino that will use him a lot, and I'm extremely happy about that loan. Hopefully he can come back stronger than when he went, and I'm sure about that. Then let's see if he will grow enough to be a starter in Juventus 25-26, but that's something for later. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I don't know if I said it or not, but anyway, I repeat it. Tuttosport is speaking about, of course, the two players that joined Juventus Football Club. One physically already, one will arrive probably today already to do the medicals tomorrow. Gonzalez ticking the box, Conceicao ticking the box, and non finisce qui. And it's not over, and it's not over. It's beautiful, eh? It's beautiful. What a mercato are we doing? Guys, it's totally crazy. What a mercato is Cristiano Giuntoli doing for Juventini. I tell you the truth, I'm 42. I have lived through a lot of mercato sessions. I saw really beautiful mercato that, of course, then you are able to judge at the end of the season if it worked or not. But that enthusiasm, seeing a lot of players arriving, strong players arriving, it's long time, but really seriously long time that I saw what we are doing at the moment. I'm not even sure if I saw an overhaul like that. Just to give you a recap, Adzic for free, and then Michele Di Gregorio, Douglas Luiz, Kefren Thuram, Juan Cabal, Pierre Kalulu, Nico Gonzalez, Francisco Conceicao, the last one that joined yesterday, or at least done deal yesterday, and it's not over, as I already told you. When I'm looking at the lineup with the players at disposal that Tuttosport showed us this morning, going more and more towards that 4-2-3-1, Di Gregorio, new goalkeeper, and then you have Cambiaso on the right, Gatti, Bremer, Cabal on the left, Douglas Luiz and Thuram, two pivots, two players in front of the defense, two new arrivals, like Cabal, for example, the one that nobody of us was expecting. And then up front, you have a Nico Gonzalez on the right side of the field, Yildiz as a number 10, Conceicao on the left, even if I believe that Conceicao can also play on the other side, with Nico Gonzalez can also play on the other side. And then you have a Dusan Vlahovic, who is missing in that lineup. First of all, we have a Kalulu that I think that will play a lot as a right back or as a center back, probably more as a center back at a certain moment. And of course, the cherry on the cake, the icing of the cake, the triple A objective that is Koop Manners, and then the crazy dream, the crazy impossible dream, especially if you are looking at this team now that you're saying, but seriously Beppe, Sancho, are you real when you're speaking about it? Well, Koop and Sancho, let's put them aside for a second. If I'm looking at that team already today, I'm not telling you that it's a Champions Champions League winning team. I'm not saying that it's a Scudetto winning team, especially after the game of yesterday of Inter, where you saw the supremacy, the dominance, the strong solidity, that continuity of Inter. And I don't want to speak too much well about the Nerazzurri, but the team that I'm watching here, I can understand perfectly what Giuntoli did. Giuntoli didn't sign players, singular players, characteristics, or individuals. He actually built a team at the image of the coach that he has chosen. He has chosen Thiago Motta, and together, like Thiago, and I will tell you later in the press conference, repeated again, and it's not the first time, we are working together, and we are working well to have a competitive team. That's what they did. The team of today makes sense. How many times in the past I told you this player is great, this player is fantastic, but at the end, when you're looking at the team that is completed on 31st of August, you say, but there is a paradox, because you are not obliged, you can't play the way that you want to play. You're obliged to play a 3-5-2, you're sacrificing some players, you're obliged to loan out other players because they don't have a spot in your team. You have too many players that are playing the same roles and you don't understand it. You know, a lot of time we had that paradox, like, okay, we would love to play a 4-3-3, but we don't have fullbacks that are able to play them. So we have probably a problem, or this or that. If I'm looking at the team today, now, without Koop, without Sancho, I'm telling you, this is a team really that makes sense in that 4-2-3-1. We can play a 4-3-3. We can play diverse way of playing. We can even go towards a three-man defense that we don't see in the beginning lineups, but that we see in certain moments of the game, especially when we are in ball possession. And that's one of the things that Thiago Motta loves to do. Qui si vola. Here we fly is the title of Gazzetta dello Sport. Nico Gonzalez and Conceicao. La Juventus piazza il doppio colpo. Double signing yesterday. Thiago has now the wings. We were complaining and we were worried and we were scared about the fact that, yes, okay, we filled the midfield. In the defense, we have defenders we filled in terms of quantity, because we have now 8 players. Maybe we lack a bit in terms of quality. That could have been, and that can still be, one of the questions. But of course, when we are looking at the offensive phase, well, Yildiz, Bangula, Weah, and Vlahovic are absolutely not enough. Beppe, this is not enough. Do you remember how many competitions we will play? Well, yesterday with Boom Boom, we already fixed not only quantity but also quality, because I can tell you that these two players are really, really essential and good. One already arrived, he's doing the medicals and will train this afternoon with the team. Nico Gonzalez, that will not be called up for tomorrow for a simple reason, because you need to give the squad list that will travel with the team to La Lega the day before the game at 12 p.m. latest. So doing the medicals this morning, it's already 2 p.m. I don't think that, because he didn't sign the contract yet, so he's not yet registered, so it will not happen, but we will see him on the bench, or maybe, who knows, already on the field against Roma on the 1st of September. Nico Gonzalez, that is a player that can play in diverse roles, as I already told you, on the left, on the right, but also as a falso 9. Probably also that's why Juventus is a bit less worried to go for vice Vlahovic. Nico Gonzalez already did it. Yesterday I was watching the video of Colo about highlights and skills, how many goals he scored. A lot, and especially with the header. He's also a player that is not the tallest one, but that can use the head to score goals. He has beautiful passing. It's a player that will be really functional to Juventus. Functional is important in the vocabulary, in the dictionary of Thiago Motta. And then you have La Magia, the magic that is coming with the name of Francisco Conceicao. I was about to say again Sergio, like Papa, by the way. Thuram, Weah, Conceicao, of course. We lose Chiesa. It's a lot of figli d'arte, sons of stars. Well, Conceicao will bring you the magic. Fantastic player. One of the problems probably of Conceicao is that sometimes he's insisting too much in that tricks and skills. Sometimes he's insisting too much in repeating the same movements, because at a certain moment it will work. La Liga Portugal is not Serie A, where the spaces are way much closer, but I think that he will do extremely well. I'm extremely excited about him. I'm sure that we will be happy when the ball will go towards his side, when the ball will go towards his feet. We were in need of players like Kenan Yildiz, but now also with Conceicao, that can give us a bit of that magic, that can surprise us, that can dribble, but also can contribute in the team. So two beautiful signings. I just want to come back one thing about Conceicao for the people that didn't get it yet. It's a hidden option on the loan. Yes, it is a loan of 7 million euro with a 3 million bonus if you qualify to Champions League, which is quite expensive. Would be money thrown away from the window if the player would have gone 100% back to Porto, but this is not the case because we will have a possibility to sign the player with already a clause that is there of 30 million euro for the 2 first weeks of July. So if he proves himself, if Juventus is convinced about it, we go for the player, we pay the 30 million, which is the total amount, and if we qualify to Champions League for 40 million euro, and I can tell you, for a player of 21 like him, with his skills, with what he can possibly bring to Juve, I think that Juventus did a fantastic, beautiful deal. And now the rest, because we said it, non è finita, it is not over. Adesso Koop è now. Koop manners end, because Giuntoli is sprinting, is rushing, is sprinting, is running. Sancho depends, of course, of the future of two players, Kostic and Federico Chiesa. Federico Chiesa is waiting that Barcelona, as every single summer, is administratively making space for Chiesa, first for Olmo and then Chiesa. Kostic that can really soon go to Fiorentina, and who knows, maybe even Arthur, even if yesterday there were some interest from Saudi Arabia. Well, then we go for Koop manners, where I told you since long, it's already a done deal. We are just waiting. A 99.99% is a done deal for Koop. We are just waiting for him to arrive in Torino. But then we don't stop, because like Romeo Agresti wrote this morning, Juventus is really seriously pushing in talks to sign Sancho. This morning and yesterday and the day before, I was saying, but Beppe, with Sancho, with Yildiz, with Mbangula, with Wea, with Conceicao, with Nico Gonzalez, how many players do we have on the wings? How will we play? Well, you know that I was actually not finding any answer to play all of them. Of course, not like Gazzetta dello Sport. Gazzetta dello Sport is going with a 4-1-4 with only Douglas Luiz as a midfielder. And no, we have so many midfielders in our team. We will not play a 4-1-4, or maybe yes, a 4-1-4-1, but not with all these offensive players at the same time. But I was thinking, you know what? I don't care. I don't care, because I think that we will play a lot of games, a lot of competitions. The game of Thiago Motta is requiring a lot of intensity, a lot of efforts. So I think that we will see a lot of rotation around the 55th minute, for example, but game by game, depending also on the opponents that we will face. Sometimes it will be that player that will start, sometimes it will be that player, sometimes that player will play on the other side that we saw in the last game. We have a lot of alternatives, a lot of options, and that will be the task of Thiago Motta to decide who plays where, and when they play and how much they play. So I'm really curious, and I will not sleep I will not stay awake too much about these questions, because at the end I prefer having luxury problems than problems of lack of quantity. Milik will not be there. Thiago Motta spoke about him as well, but he will not be there. And then Danilo is also risking for Verona. Savona could be one of the starters of tomorrow, and that's the beautiful assist to enter that second part, the press conference of Thiago Motta. I already told you about what was he writing. I have absolutely no idea. Was he writing the journalists that were asking the good question, maybe, and he was noting their names? Was he asking, I don't know what he was writing. Maybe he was writing the continuum of the shopping list with names that came in during the press conference. I don't know, and I think that we will never really know. If I have one day the honor, I'm not sure. I don't know if it will happen. I don't even think that it will happen. But if I have the honor to interview him one day, that's one of the questions that I will ask. So what did he speak about? Well, he said Nico and Chico, the two players, they are strong. They are strong players. And that's the case of who is already here. That's the case of who is arriving, speaking about these players, but also about who will arrive, indirectly answering and telling us Mercato is not over, confirming that other players will join this Juventus Football Club. There was a question from Cornacchia from Gazzetta dello Sport, journalist, that said, on Wednesday it will be your 42nd birthday. Are you already having something on your wish list for an extra gift of Giuntoli? Where he started to laugh and he said, they already told me about you. Then, of course, the journalist of Gazzetta dello Sport. What did Juve tell him about Gazzetta dello Sport? Big question mark also there. But then he said, as said, we work well together to build a competitive team, as you already saw it. And I think that this is also indirectly answering all the tifosi, the journalists, the papers that were all worried about, but Giuntoli out, and what is Thiago Motta thinking, and this, and we have a lack of players, and we are doing nothing, and we are not moving. He said it last week in the first press conference. We are working well together to build a competitive team, and he repeated it again today. So I think it's also good for tifosi. As I always proned and said here on the channel, wait. A mercato starts officially on the 1st of July, even if we already start in June, but ends on a certain date. In this case, the 30th of August. That's the moment where you can judge the work. If the mosaico is complete, if we start cherry picking on the 1st of August, but the mercato is long. Mercato is long, and we know that in Italy mercato, a lot of things are happening in that last week. Extra gift, he said, at the moment we are thinking about Verona, with a smile. Good training session this week, but we need to keep the feet on the ground. After Como, extremely important for us, tifosi, for the players, for himself. We did nothing, We did nothing. What are the takeaways from the Como game? And that's where I start really to enjoy even more. The answer was the 3 points. He interrupted the question. He said, the 3 points. I can already tell you immediately, this is the most important thing of the Como game, the 3 points, because that's what mattered, the victory at the end. For me, that is always thinking about winning is the only thing that matters. That's important. Obviously, pay attention, there is a way to get the 3 points. And that's where you even add the defensive phase. That's what we did really well against Como. And I want to see, again, a solid defensive phase. Verona, 33% of ball possession, but they won against Napoli. He also said Napoli will be a Scudetto contender, but then he said, how can we beat them? Balance between both phases. Concentrated, we need to attack them, being convinced of ourselves, and then being focused in defense. And that's the big key, why I always chosen for Thiago Motta as my preferred one. Because it's not only defense. It's not only that attacking football that is entertaining people in Premier League and then you concede 4 goals. No, it is a balanced football. A balanced football with ball possession where you need to create, but you also need to pay attention in the back and up front. A football that I love. And I love when Thiago Motta is explaining me these things. He said that he was lucky to have all the players that he has at disposal. They are all different. They all have different characteristics, but they are all functional to the team. They will have all the same possibilities to demonstrate that they deserve to play. Guys, this is who Thiago Motta is. Another confirmation. First, that he wanted 24, 25 players with 2 players per role, if possible, and all these players needed to be different from each other in terms of characteristics. This is what Cristiano Giuntoli is building for him. Secondly, continuing in that meritocracy, who deserves plays. Super important, guys. Super important. And speaking about that versatility, he spoke about Bangula. Pay attention, because he said Bangula, great player, he did really well. He can play on both sides. Yes, he can. It's for him a bit more complicated on the right side, even if he should not be, or it should not be that difficult for him at that level. But I can even understand. So he's showing 2 things there. He's showing, I need versatility from all the players. At that level of football, I am extremely demanding. You need to play on the left and on the right. Not crying because you are 20 centimeters here, 20 centimeters there, 20 centimeters there. You need to play at that level of football. Is it a direct message to someone else? I don't know, guys. But that's a really important one. And then, again, saying, I can understand it. Why? Because he's showing also that big brother effect. So extremely important. What about Kalulu? Physically, great. Doing well. Will he play as a center back? Will he be as a right back? He did both at Milan. So again, pointing out that versatility of the player. And now we go towards Danilo. Danilo, he said, we don't know yet. Yesterday he got a knock. Yesterday he didn't train with the team. Today we have another training session where we will evaluate if yes or no he will travel with the team. But then he spoke about captaincy. Do I already know who will be the captain of tomorrow? Yes, I already know. And you will discover the captain tomorrow. But a captain is not only in the locker room. A captain is everywhere, 360 degree. It's a captain that is able to share it with everyone, with the referee on the field, in the locker rooms, with his teammates, but also with the fans, with the supporters, with everyone. He's saying that if you want to be captain, you need to have that exemplarity. Will we have another captain that got the good question mark? One thing that is confirming, if he's not sure about Danilo playing tomorrow, yes or no, he's sure about the captain. And that means that Danilo, even if he recuperates, will not start the game of tomorrow. That's the only thing that we know now. Danilo will not start the game of tomorrow against Verona. What about Milik? He is recuperating, but he didn't train yet with his teammates. And then he said, today I love everything about Savona. His will, the way that he's looking at me, that he's looking at the staff, he's at disposal, he's open to learn, he's like a sponge to take, to grow, and mentally he's really ready. This is not because of us, but thanks to the people that managed him before. The youth sector of Juventus Football Club. What about Douglas Luiz starting tomorrow? I said we will see. And then he said something super interesting, and we are at the end of the video. He said there is who plays and there is who will play. I prefer speaking about who will play. Why? Because if they don't know who will play, if they don't know who plays, let's say it like that, but they can imagine about who will play, they have the possibility until the last moment to demonstrate, to show in game, but also in training session, they are elevating the performances of everyone and the competitiveness from all the teammates. I like that. So probably from what I understand, the lineups are decided or given to the players really at the last moment. Maybe in the bus traveling to the plane before going to Verona, or maybe when they are landing, or maybe a few minutes before starting the game. Seriously, that's why I understand. He wants to keep all of them extremely alert because everyone can play. So who will play instead of who plays? Who doesn't play? That was a really interesting question. Who doesn't play? Like Danilo and Douglas Luiz the first game. Is because they deserved a bit less, because they showed a bit less respect to the other ones? He said absolutely no. He said one word, no. And that was it for the press conference of Thiago Motta. I really enjoyed it. Also the Mercato, guys. Long video with so many news. I hope you enjoyed it with a maximum of like. I repeat it. Thanks for following. Thanks for the trust. Really super appreciated. Grazie, forza. Juve.